Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Kathy. Good morning, everyone. Can we just start with who we are check? If you are a high school teacher, would you put it in the chat? Whatever grade level you teach, would you put it in the chat so that we can see who we have in the room? High school or elementary? I see fifth grade, first grade. So we have the whole gamut, middle school. Thank you, guys. I love to see that chat popping like that. Yes, popping. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that. So I have everybody. I have like a whole gamut of educators here this morning. Really quick, if you can, if on a piece of paper, if you want to finish this rhyme with me, my name is blank and I'm the best. What can you do better than the rest? Finish that rhyme and I'll be calling on, or Kathy and Lynn will probably be calling on some people, random people, to just finish that rhyme with me. So be ready to share, because you never know if you're gonna be called on. So this is one of those activities I started at the beginning of the year to kind of build relationships with my students. Just like a little rap. And normally if we were in my room, I'd do it like this. My name is Kyri and I'm the best. I can teach music better than the rest. Hey, hey. So then we would call on other people and the next people would read and the next people would read. So is there anybody who would like to share? Maybe if you use the hand raised emoji so that Kathy and Lynn can call on you. Or you can just unmute. You can do that too. Okay. Anybody want to share their rhyme?
I'll share my rhyme.
Go ahead.
My name is Amanda Blackburn, and I am the best. I can bake better than the rest.
Hey, hey, hey. All right. We got anybody else?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Tammy.
My name is Tammy, and I'm the best. I can talk better than the rest.
Hey, 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 hey. Can we get one?
I'll go.
Go, Miss Moore. Hey.
My name is Shalori, and I'm the best. I can procrastinate better than the rest.
Hey, me too. One more. Can we get one more?
My name is Peggy, and I'm the best. I can clutter better than the rest.
Hey, hey, hey. At least you know yourself. So that's a fun activity to just get started and so your kids can introduce themselves, and maybe throughout the year you can change it and do something else with it. And each time they probably going to be better at something else than they were before. So I'm gonna just introduce myself. Not, I can teach music better than the rest, but I ain't gonna say that. My name is Kyri Demby. And I've been teaching for 18 plus years. I say 18 plus because I feel like I lost a few years somewhere and I can't remember. But anyway, I'm also an author. I have written several books, the Demby's Playful Parables and the Lori Biscuit Chronicles. And each of my books teach a lesson. They teach either social emotional learning, or if it's my music books, like the Lori Biscuit Chronicles, they teach music lessons. Also, I'm a musician and songwriter. So a lot of the songs that I do deal with social and emotional learning. They are on Spotify and iTunes and all of those things like that. So you can look up Demby's Playful Parables and you will find those things. I'm also, the kids like this part, I like to be on YouTube and TikTok. I'm like an avid TikToker. That's my thing now. After we had COVID and we were just sitting at home, all I did was TikTok. So here's one of my TikToks. I'm just gonna show you.
All the way out. All the way. All the way out.
Got to be more careful. Stop, think, and breathe, and make the right choice. And the right choice. Y'all sat down somewhere. That's my little fun thing. It's fun for me. And I have everybody, all these people saying, stop, think, and breathe, and make the right choice. And that's one of those main things about social emotional learning, making the right choice and right decisions. So anyway, let's get into what we came to do. And we came to learn about how we can use social emotional learning in our classrooms. So most of the time, because I'm a music teacher, most people feel like, oh no, this won't work in my classroom. It only works with music teachers or with art teachers. And that's not true. That's why I'm here today to help you, even high school. You know, some of my activities won't work in high school or in older grades, but some of them will. And so we'll go through those today. And hopefully I can give you something that you can take back and use. Let's start with my mindset. The mindset that I have when children walk into my room. I'm not going to read this to you because I'm one of those people that hate to go to PDs and the person reads exactly what's on the screen. That kind of makes me angry. So I'm not going to do it to you. I'm going to let you read it. But this is the attitude you have to have. You have to believe that your children walk into your room with this code. And I'll let you read it for a little bit. I believe that children walk into my room and they have the moral code, the internal code of conduct that drives the human race to explore, to nurture, to comfort, to inspire, to laugh, so that societies can flourish. And so that's when no matter what that student is, I believe they're walking in with that code. And sometimes the only thing is when their love for you or their love for exploring outweighs their love for you. And that's where we have the disconnect. But we'll talk about that later. I also believe that every experience is an opportunity to learn and grow. And so just imagine if you walk into your classroom like that, believing that every experience in your classroom is an opportunity to learn and grow. So even when that day doesn't go right, when the kids are acting crazy, which they do, they will from time to time, you have to just believe every experience is an opportunity to learn and grow. And I also added to that, I always use this note to myself. Mr. Demby, when things don't go right in your class, there's a lesson for you to learn. Most of us feel like those kids are bad. Those kids need to do this. Those kids. No, I think it's you. It's something you got to do or something you got to change because you are the leader of that room. And when things don't go right, there's something you have to learn or change and work on. And so since I'm giving you this mindset, let's just do an emotions check. And normally if we were here, if I were in front of you when we do emoji me, you would have 5 cards with emotions on them and I would say, hold up the card. But since we don't, I'm gonna ask you to put in the chat, how are you feeling right now? And how do you feel about what I just said to you about when things don't go right in your class, it's something you need to learn. Just put an emoji or something in the chat. Go ahead and do that now. Blow my chat up like you did before. I see I agree. Thank you. I see some good emotions, reflective, awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I love it. Emoji me. I see some good feelings. I see some reflective feelings. Thumbs up. So I saw like an angry emoji. I would like somebody to share if you have a different feeling or if you want to just share why you feel the way you feel. Just unmute and share. Go ahead. I see A. Peyton. Do you want to share your feelings? Anybody?
Sorry, I had to find the mute button.
That's okay.
So yes, but also no, because there are things that we learn and we do every day with some of our kids, and we still see no progress in certain things like behaviors by the end of the year. And we've been doing all of these things all year, and we still see no changes.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
hard to say that like we need to learn more and do better, because we've been trying and exhausted every resource we have, the school has, the school system has, the parents have, and we still don't see a change.
yeah. And I agree to a certain extent. But I used to be that teacher who walked in my room and I said, I know these kids gonna be bad. They gonna get on my nerves today. So I know I'm not gonna, today not gonna be a good day. And I kind of shifted, and those thoughts that, it's a thought shifter. It takes some time to shift your thoughts to say, these kids are going to walk in and they're going to have that inner code that we talked about. And I believe that my kids are going to be the best. And I believe that my kids are going to do this and do that. And sometimes after that, it was some small increments, and the kids don't get me wrong. And Miss Shalori Moore is on here from my school. Sometimes you can hear me, I can yell and scream, but a lot of times I can just walk in the room and say, boys and girls, show me your best. And those kids, they get in, it's like it's part of their inner memory, because they have learned it, and we have used these different activities over and over again. So let's just keep going and see if maybe something that I give you, maybe you can use and see if you can see those changes. And the changes will be small at first. And then you will start seeing great change. I think you will. Okay. Anybody else want to share before I move on?
I do. Sometimes we don't see the changes right away, or we don't experience those changes in our class, because I've had students who we've done it all year and it does feel like it's in vain. And then they come back that summer and some of them are changed. And it's like, wait a minute, I did all the work and another teacher is going to get the benefit. So sometimes you're not going to see it in your classroom, which is regrettable, and it is frustrating. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That is the case many times. And sometimes you don't see it at school. You might hear, like sometimes my parents call me and say, Mr. Demby, what did you teach my child? You got them around here telling me excuses are tools of incompetence, which build monuments of nothingness and da-da-da-da-da. And so I'm like, they learning something. So real quick, I want to just go into what is social emotional learning. And so many of you probably have been through this before. So you know what these are. You know what social and emotional learning is. But the way I see it, I start off my year building with self-awareness and being aware of yourself. Then once you're aware of yourself, you can manage yourself a little bit better. And see, these are the two things a lot of people skip over. They go to the relationship building, or they go to the making right decisions, but they haven't worked on self-awareness and self-management. And so I feel like if you don't have those two in place, those other three you can't even use those. And so, like I said, it starts in the classroom, or it starts one class at a time and it grows to the school. Like me, I'm the music teacher. And I started a saying, like I used to say, I am the best, so I will act like the best, blah, blah, blah. We would do that saying every day in my room. And it grew out of my room till it has become the school's pledge and the mantra of the school. So you can look and see those different things. And if you want to learn more about SEL, there are some videos on the KET PBS Learning Media, which here is one of them now. Come on, video.
Social emotional learning teaches the soft skills that we all need to function in our work and school. When we can build and show empathy for others, show respect, offer grace, kindness, forgiveness, perseverance, those are all those soft skills that every employer hopes their employee exhibits. But we have never had an emotion education until now. And so we can prepare our students for not just the future employment opportunities, but to have a better sense of community and working relationship with those in their classroom and in their school. But the research also shows that social and emotional learning improves academic success. So it's a win-win.
So, like I said, I start off with self-awareness, being aware of yourself, being aware of your feelings, being aware of your body, being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your emotions. And I start off, that's like the start of everything. Like I believe it was William Shakespeare who said, to thine own self be true. So you have to know yourself. And so it's hard to teach social emotional learning to kids without teaching it to yourself also. So when you teach self-awareness to kids, you're gonna have to automatically learn it. So when we have to teach these things to our kids about that. Then self-management, once you know how you feel about something, or once you know how things are going to make you feel, then you can manage it. Like I tell my kids, sometimes when you know that something's going to make you nervous, come and tell me first. Hey, Mr. Demby, can I take a break because this is this? And just imagine your classroom if you had students who had good self-awareness and self-management, to where they could come say, hey, I don't like reading, and I'm probably going to get mad if you make me read. So can I take a break? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine that. If you had those students, if you could just build on those two things, self-awareness and self-management, just imagine how your class would be. I see Michelle, it looks like you're unmuted. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, I do. Teach, I'm a kindergarten assistant teacher.
Okay.
And what we do with our little spiritual babies, we've got a beanbag. Our pause place, it's got a beanbag, and it's got like some sensory things that they can feel and touch and fidgets. So when they get upset and stuff like that happens, you go to the comm room or the comm place, and they'll go over and sit down in the beanbag, grab a little stuffed animal or something, play with the little fidgets and stuff, and then they get, when they're better, they come back and everything, and we can usually get them to go on with the work, to do the work. They just get real antsy or real upset. And I had one little boy that would get upset over everything, and he would have a complete full-blown meltdown. So with him, it was a little bit harder trying to get him to use that, but we tried and tried and tried, and then finally he got it. He would be like, I can't. And he would like shake his fist and stuff. It was like, okay, go calm down. He'd walk over. He got to the point where we would have to tell him, he's like, I need a break. And he would walk over to the comm room or to the comm area and sit down and get himself together and stuff. They started learning, at the ages of 5 and 6, which I thought was really amazing, that they're learning this concept in their head going, oh, I need help.
Yeah.
I need to go over and do this. So, yeah.
Just imagine how much better that made your class for him
It
to
did.
say, hey, I need a break. You know, and some teachers, oh no, you're not gonna take no break. You already took. If they say they need
I say pick your battles with them. I'll sit and I'm not going to argue with you or this or that. Go take your calm, because if you argue, it's going to make it worse. Then you tell him no. Then he would get angry and like throw stuff and tear stuff up. So it was like, no, let him do it, because when he would get angry and start doing that, that would just destroy the rest of the class. Then my other kids would start acting up. So, once they learned that what he was doing was making poor choices, but he was handling it right, the class came back together and learned to ignore like his, behavior that he was doing. And he learned how to, calm his own self down. So that worked out really well.
Yeah.
But I just learned to pick your own battles first.
Right. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Now, everybody, I'm going to skip around a little bit because that hour just runs from us so quickly. Anyway, I'm going to give you some activities that you can use in your classroom. This activity is called the cloud relaxation. And this kind of builds on that self-awareness and the self-management. And even in the high schools, you can use this as a transition. After you're talking, you don't have to make, like my babies, they run around and then lay on the floor. You don't have to do that. You can just tell them, hey, I'm gonna give you 20 seconds to calm your conversations down. And then by the time the counter gets to 0, let's all sit quiet, breathe in, breathe out, or just sit quiet. You can use this during your transitions. You can use this to close out an activity. You can use it anytime. Like I was teaching summer camp with some older kids, and we would have talk, text, and scroll time. I would give them like 5 minutes, and I'll tell them, just like in my room, I give free time at the end of class, but I give the older kids talk, text, and scroll time, where if they want to scroll on social media, they can, because they're going to do it anyway. They try to sneak in the phone. So I tell them, hey, I'll give you some time at the end of class or in the middle of class. And right after this, but after talk, text, and scroll time, I say, hey, we're going to do the cloud relaxation, and you have 20 seconds to put everything away and then come back and be ready to learn. So this is how my kids do it. Y'all forgive us. We were dancing and finished dancing. Notice how they are. They are. Talking has stopped, moving has stopped. And so that's one of those activities that I use in my class. It's also on my YouTube channel, or you can just find a cloud video and do the same thing. That kind of helps them with self-control and it helps them to move from being out of control and then with the snap of a finger in control. Like I tell my kids, when I'm at a football game or at some type of event and my team wins, I don't go to football games much, but if the team wins and I'm excited, yeah, I can't go home driving like that. I have to get myself under control. And that's the same skills that we need to teach our kids. And it's something to be said about that repetition of doing things like that over and over again, teaching them to sit still, teaching kids to focus, focus on you, nobody else. And a lot of times, we lose a lot of that. Back in the day, years past, a lot of kids would go to either church or go to meetings with their parents or weddings, funerals, things like that. And they would have to sit still and focus on the speaker. But now, like a lot of churches now, they do children's church. So instead of the kids sitting quiet, they are like in the back playing and stuff. So they don't have opportunities to sit still. So as a teacher, you have to give it to them. Give them some opportunities to sit still. And so this is a self-control game. I know it seems like I'm going fast, y'all, but we got like 30 minutes left. And I have a lot to cover. But even if we don't make it, at least if we can have some good discourse, I'm fine with that too. Anyway, this is an activity kind of like that cloud relaxation, but this one would not work with older kids. I don't think it would. I think it more so works with my babies. And we do it all the time. This is Demby's self-control game. If you want to turn on your camera and join me in this for like a few minutes, it'll be good to see some other people. This is a way you can get a break. We kind of been talking for 30 minutes and we all can stand up and take a brain break and join me in the self-control game. Jump around for 10 seconds. And freeze. This kind of gives your children opportunities to sit still and kind of learn how to control their body. That's where that self-management comes in.
All right, good job, y'all. Stand up straight. Let's stretch up. Stretch down. Roll your shoulders forward or back. Here we go, y'all.
Freeze. And the time gets more and more each time. It freezes. They have to freeze for longer. And you talk to them as the time is going away. I talk to them about controlling their body and controlling their mind and emotions and breath, slowing down the breath. That's how you calm yourself down. And so I have these types of conversations while this is going, and they just keep doing,
Y'all doing good.
I'm gonna stop and move.
Stretch up.
Wow, won't let me move. Okay, there we go. So those are like the building blocks. Those two activities alone will help you build some self-awareness and self-management just by, even if you just say, hey, let's sit still for a few minutes. Teach your kids to sit still just for a few minutes. Those things will build up your self-awareness, stamina, and self-management, because they have to manage themselves to sit still. When kids are excited, it's almost like that when you put the candy in front of the kids and you say, don't eat it until I come back, and they have to sit there and wait. Doing things like that will help them build up that self-management. And I feel like in order for you to go on to social awareness, you have to already have built a strong foundation of self-awareness and self-management. Many times our social emotional lessons don't work because we try to do relationship building, we try to do social awareness or right decision making without doing the strong foundation of self-awareness and self-management. And if you do those things every day, you will be able to build on those skills, okay? And which brings us to social awareness, looking at the people around you and being aware and having empathy and sympathy for those people, and realizing that you are not the only person in the room, and realizing that what you do affects other people. And these are the kinds of conversations I have with my kids, you know, just to help them understand that what you do is affecting other people. And so this is a way we can do that. This is an activity I call Emoji Me. And it's also, the directions for this activity is on the KET PBS Learning Media website. I also do like a flashcard activity. I call it Emoji Me. They draw an emoji, and I only do 5 different emotions, you know, happy, sad, mad, scared, or confused. And so they draw an emoji, but then on the back, every week or so, I try to think of other words that they can use to say those same emotions. And so they put different words on the back so that they can start it. You know, a lot of times when kids say, I'm mad, they're not really mad. They just don't know what else to say. So I try to teach them to express those words. And then sometimes we use our emoji cards. If I'm listening or teaching a song, they just hold up. However, if it makes them feel sad, they hold it up. That way they're not interrupting the class. Or if I'm reading a story, they hold up the card. And that's a good way just to get them thinking about how they feel. And then they can look and see it, oh, well, she's feeling kind of sad about it too. So, you know, and it helps them build that empathy to, you know, to the other students in the room. Okay, let's just do a quick emotions check. Can you in the chat, just this far, how can you, do you see any usefulness in any of these activities? Would you put that in the chat, yes or no, or maybe so? Because it's very important that you see them as useful, and that you can just use, even if you just do a little bit of it every time. You know, and my feelings won't be hurt if you say no, because most of my high school teachers be like, oh no, my kids ain't doing that. But but I think even in high school, if you kind of do maybe not these activities, but do some type of activity where your kids can focus on self-awareness and self-management, you know, it'll be helpful. It might not be these activities, but even like the Emoji Me, asking your kids, how do you feel? Hold up a card, have those cards made at the beginning of the year and keep them in their desk or in their backpack, and tell them to bring it out at the beginning of class. And, you know, as you go through class, hey, how you know, I think those things like that, just so that they can focus and realize that, hey, it's other people in the room. Oh, look, she's not feeling good. Maybe she, he's, things like that. Thank you. I see that. I see those chats. And so in order for us to, hold on, that last chat, I'm sorry, I teach virtual. I'll get it. But in order for us to, like I said, teaching social emotional learning is building blocks. If you build on self-awareness and self-management, then move to social awareness and social awareness, then you can move to kind of responsible decision making. Because if you have no self-awareness, you're not going to make responsible decisions because you're not aware of yourself, and you are not aware, you don't know how to manage yourself. So it's hard to do that. Like, I have a book called Simon the Self-Control Seal, and in there we say, stop, think, and breathe, and make the right choice. And so in order for them to make the right choice, they would have to know how I feel. They would have to know how how is this going to affect other people? They would have to know those things. How can I make the right choice? What are the right choices for me in this moment, in this space? So, just whenever you're teaching, if you don't hear anything else that I say, whenever you're teaching social emotional learning, use it as building blocks. And you have to start with a strong foundation of self-awareness. And this is something I do in my class every day. Actually, at every workshop, if you ever catch me teaching a training or a workshop, anything, you will always, every time, read the 20-minute mental makeover. And I'm going to keep teaching it and teaching it and teaching it until I have teachers across the country, across the state saying, Mr. Demby, I use that in my room. And I think because it speaks to our students' subconscious mind. And a lot of times we don't think about the subconscious mind because we are too busy teaching, but we want our kids to do things and say things over and over so that it becomes second nature to them. And that's what this is for me. And so normally in any other workshop or any other training, I would take you through it and we would do it together. If we were in the room together, we would do it together. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click through the slides so that you can see, and I'll share them with you if you want to use something like this in your class at the beginning. I'll share the slides with Lynn or Kathy or Brian, and then they can share it back to you all. Or you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat in a minute. So anyway, this is the way we start. We start with a song. I'm going to play a little bit of the song.
Be responsible, be responsible. 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 Be responsible. Say be responsible. Be responsible. Say be responsible. Be responsible. Say do what you are supposed to do.
All right, I'm gonna stop. So normally I will start with a song. And if you teach high school, you can start with a song about decimals or whatever you're learning that day, fractions. Start with a song just so that it can get in their minds. But I always start with songs about social emotional learning, being responsible. I am the best. And then we go to our daily statement. I changed this for my school. My school says something else. We used to say this statement, but I changed it to fit our school mission. And so then we go through our expectations, and many schools have the PBIS expectations. And a lot of times what I find is we put the signs on the wall, but we never bring it to our kids' memory about what the expectations are. And so this way, if you just do it quickly during the day, it's easy. And this part doesn't have to take 20 minutes. Most of the part that takes 20 minutes is the discussion. So, but this part you can just do very quickly, do the readings. I'm just showing you the readings that I do. And then I'm gonna show you my kids doing it, my second graders wanted to record themselves. And so I thought it'd be a good idea. And so I added this year a quote from Tabitha Brown, and they love that quote: "Have a good day, but if you can't, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's." Okay, so this is my kids. I pledge to join the Jacob team and be successful. Accept the consequences for my actions. Carry out myself and others. Observe the school rules at all times. Be a responsible and hardworking student. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Say Jacob, Jacob. Give your best. Be engaged. Sit up, speak up, and participate in class. Be safe. Be safe. Always sit and walk properly. Always sit and walk properly. Be on target, target, target. Be on target, target, target. Be ready to. You say it with me, go. Watch your thoughts, they become words. What? Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, they become your destiny. Excuses are tools of incompetence, which be monuments of nothingness. Those who use themselves in competition. Go. The more that you read, the more that you know. The more that you learn, the more places you go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go. Do your best. Never let your best. Your good is never best. What did Mr. Dennis say? What Tabitha Brown said. Can we say what Tabitha Brown say so that the people can understand on the video? Let's say it. Have a good day. But if you can't, don't you dare go messing up your kids. Tabitha Brown. Thank y'all. All right. And so those kids, I normally start with my kids doing that in kindergarten, and we build on it every year and every year. And so that it's in their mind. Sometimes the older kids come to me and say, Mr. Demby, you know, they'll repeat to me excuses, or they tell it to their parents. Their parents say, Mr. Demby, my child came home and said excuses are tools of incompetence, which build, you know, and so that kind of gives me joy because it's in there. And like I was saying earlier, some of those things you won't get to see the change, but it's in there. It's in there. It's getting in there. And so, which brings us to relationship skills. It looks like somebody was unmuted. So if you had, anybody want to share anything before I move on? I got like 13 minutes and we almost finished, y'all.
How do you squeeze this in with your regular curriculum that you have to be teaching? Because we only get them for 45 minutes for enrichment class. So how do you squeeze this in?
Well, yeah, I teach it like I teach this at the beginning of the year. So I might take 20 minutes at the beginning of the year and teach these readings. Or I might do the emoji me activity. I do these all at the beginning. And then once we learn it, it only takes, like you saw that video, only took like 3-4 minutes. So if you take like the first 4 or 5 minutes of your class and do these activities, or maybe just do the freezing. And sometimes I'll do the self-control game and I'll add it in. Or at the end of class, after we have done learning, I'll do the cloud relaxation and just teach the kids, this is what we do. And sometimes I have to do it over and I tell them, I will not stop until I get the desired result. And so I still teach my music classes. We're playing the piano, we're playing the drums, we're singing, we're doing all of those notes and things like that. But at the beginning of every class, we do those readings. And the older kids, they like to speed read. So most of the time, it might take 3 minutes off of your regular time. Any other questions before I move on? All right. So let's talk about those relationship skills. And so, like I said, before you can build on any of those other 3, the relationship skills, let's build on self-awareness and self-management first. Then add those other things. And like at the beginning of the year, it's going to take a little extra time. And so, like they said, I believe in the first days of school, that book from the Wongs, they had where they talked about at the beginning of the year, you spend more time on certain things so that later in the year you won't have to. And in that video, that was 2 second grade classes I had together that day. So that was like 60 kids and they were all under control, doing what they were supposed to do. Plus, Mr. Demby put the fear of God in them. I told them, don't mess up our video. They asked to make it. Anyway, so, and that brings us to having that healthy relationship with our students, building relationship skills and knowing that sometimes, like I said at the beginning, sometimes the kids' love for self-exploration and their love to explore is going to outweigh their love for you. That's what happens when your parents say, hey, don't touch the stove, it's hot. Some students, some people, some kids, they'll say, oh, I love my parent enough and I trust them enough that the stove is hot and I'm not going to touch it. But some kids will say, I want to explore. I want to see what hot is. What are they talking about? And their love for exploration outweighs the love for their parents. So they go touch it and they learn a powerful lesson in that. Both times the kid learned a lesson. And that was what we're getting to. So when you're teaching in your classroom, remember, some kids are going to love you enough to listen to what you have to say. And they're going to say, okay, Miss Moore said don't do it, or Miss Nolan said don't do it, Miss Kelly said don't do it. But some kids are going to say, well, I want to see for myself. That's one of them kids that I say, you going to learn today? They going to learn today. And so building relationship skills, this is one more activity that I do in my room. It's called a Listen and Imagine. And those of you who are music teachers, this is a way for you to get in your classical music to help our kids hear different songs. I play a song, it's really quick. Actually, there's a quick video from the KET Learning Media, and it tells you the directions on how to do the activity as well. If you go to that website.
I start out doing this thing called listen and imagine. And so I play a piece, and also it's a way for me to get my classical music in so the kids can learn different classical pieces. So I play a classical piece and I tell them, close your eyes and just imagine, like, how do you feel? What kind of feeling does this bring up with you? What picture do you see in your mind when this, and I tell them, if this were a soundtrack to a video game or a music movie, like, what picture would you see in your mind? Is it an angry? Do you feel angry? And just so that they can get into those feelings of how they feel.
Okay, so let's do a listen and imagine really quick. So if you have some paper at home, I really would love everybody to do this. And then if you, at the end, I want you to hold your picture, whatever you draw, I want you to hold it up to the screen. So as many people as can do it, I want you to do it. We're gonna do a quick listen and imagine. So close your eyes, listen to the music. Then quickly, we'll draw a picture. What emotions are coming up for you as you listen to this music? Ready? Here we go. So at this point, I would say, open your eyes and start drawing how the music makes you feel. So if you have paper in front of you, do that now. Just sketch out a picture of how this music is, what kind of vibes is this. All right. And so then we would share. And what I'd like to do for sharing, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. And I would like everybody, if you could, my picture is trash, but hold your picture up to the screen so that we can see all the pictures. Because then that way we can look and see how other people are feeling. How did that music make other people feel? Your kids will be able to look, oh, it made me feel melancholy or sad. Lynn or Katie, will you take a picture of our pictures? Leave your pictures up to the screen. And I just it'll be good to get a picture of everybody's picture. Oh, I see some good pictures and some good feelings there. All right, that should be enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so that's one of those activities where kids can look around the room and see, oh, well, look, she's feeling sad, or oh, he's feeling happy, or, and then you can use that as a conversation piece. And like I said, all of these activities, you won't get to do the conversation piece. Some of it you will just get to do, real quick. But even if you do part of the activity, it's going to help more than not doing any activity at all. And I always tell people, before I get to that video, I might skip that video. I always tell people, actually, I am going to skip that. And I'm going to go down to our closing page where you can get my information, because we only have 2 minutes. But if you just remember the things that are solved by teaching social emotional learning, as for the things that are not, like when you don't have social emotional learning, kids have emotional problems, they have behavior problems. But it is scientific that I'm gonna go through this page, back to this page. This has been researched that these are the things that are linked to student gains with learning social emotional learning, social emotional skills, improved attitudes about the self, others, and school, positive classroom behavior, 11 percentile point gain on the standardized achievement test. Those things are scientific. That has been researched, that when you teach social emotional learning in your class, these are the things that happen. So these activities I give you, even if you just do one every week, or one every day, do a different one every day, or do the same one every day, it will build up your kids' social emotional stamina so that they can start making those changes and gains. All right, I did want to ask if there are any questions. I know we got time. We got 1 minute left. I've been timing myself because normally I start rambling. Do I recommend certain classical music? Nope. I just go to YouTube and find 2-minute classical songs so that it's not long. I don't want it to be like one of those 30-minute symphonies or anything like that, but just go and find 2-minute classical songs, maybe Mozart. I love Mozart. That's one of my favorites. And I don't always use classical songs. Sometimes I'll use an instrumental from another song, like I'll use a hip hop instrumental. And how does this make, I use country, I use all types of music with that, listen and imagine. All right, my timer just said, shut up, Kyri. All right, thank y'all for listening. I hope y'all got a lot from this, and I hope y'all got something that y'all can use.